The number you're chasing every single day was invented to sell a gadget, not discovered in a lab, not the result of some giant study. It came from a marketing team in Tokyo in the 1960s, and the man who helped popularize it later admitted the number was basically a guess. So here's what I want to do in the next few minutes. I'm going to show you exactly where 10,000 steps really came from. I'm going to show you what the actual science says the number should be, and it's lower than you think. And near the end, I'll give you the one number that matters far more than your step count. Most people have never even heard of it. Stick around, because once you see it, you'll never look at your step counter the same way again. Because right now, millions of people feel like they failed today, not because they were lazy, but because a number on a screen told them so. Let's fix that. To understand this, we have to go back to 1964. Tokyo just hosted the Olympic Games, where the whole country is buzzing about fitness. Everyone wants to be healthier, more active. Walking is suddenly cool. And a Japanese company saw an opportunity. A clock company called Yamasa released one of the first wearable step counters, and they gave it a catchy name, Marpi Manpo K. In Japanese, that translates to 10,000 step meter. I read that again. The name of the product was the goal. 10,000 steps wasn't the recommendation that led to the device. It was the marketing slogan printed on the box. And here's the detail almost nobody knows, right? The Japanese character for 10,000 looks a little like a person walking, 2 legs, mid-stride. So it was catchy, it was visual, it was a nice round number, it was in every way a perfect marketing choice. What it was not was a scientific finding. There was no long clinical trial that landed on 10,000. There was a product, a clever name, and a nation ready to buy it. Now here's the part that's actually kind of fascinating, how a slogan on a Japanese gadget became a global health rule that you and I still hear today. The device was a hit. The phrase spread, and over the following decades, 10,000 steps quietly slipped out of advertising and into everyday advice. Doctors said it, magazines printed it, and eventually your smartwatch shipped with it as the default goal, a little ring you're supposed to close every day. Nobody stopped to ask the obvious question, where did this number actually come from? It just felt true. It was round, it was memorable, it had been repeated so many times that it sounded like science. And that's how it works. Repeat something often enough, and people stop asking for the evidence. The number became a fact simply because everyone agreed to keep saying it. But when researchers finally did put it to the test, the results were surprising. Now, walking is genuinely good for you. Now, let me be clear about that. More movement is linked to a longer, healthier life. That part is real. The question is, how many steps do you actually need before the benefits kick in? In 2019, a major study followed thousands of older women and tracked their steps. And here's what they found. Compared to the least active group, women who took around 4,000 steps a day were already living significantly longer, 4,000, not 10. And it got more interesting. The benefits kept rising up to about 7,500 steps. And then the line basically flattened out. Pushing all the way to 10,000 didn't add much extra protection for them at all. Then a few years later, a huge international review pulled data from hundreds of thousands of people, and it pushed the number down even further. It found that the risk of dying early started dropping at around 4,000 steps a day. And for reducing heart-related risk, the benefits began showing up at fewer than 2,500. So put it all together. The real sweet spot for most people isn't 10,000. It lands somewhere between roughly 7,000 and 8,000 steps a day, and meaningful benefits start way earlier than that, which means if you've been feeling guilty for hitting only 6,000, you were probably doing great the whole time. And this is where it gets good, and the number of steps might not even be the most important part of this whole conversation. Remember, at the start, I promised you a number that matters more than your step count. Here it is. It's not how many steps you take, it's how fast. Researchers have a word for this, cadence. It just means your steps per minute, basically your walking pace. And study after study is finding the same thing. A shorter, brisker walk can do more for your health than a long, slow, a shuffle, that happens to rack up a big number. The rough target researchers point to is around 100 steps a minute. That's a pace where you're moving with a little purpose, whereas you could still talk, but you'd rather not sing. Do that for even 10 or 15 focused minutes, and you're giving your heart, your lungs, and your brain a real signal. Arguably, a better one than 2 hours of slow wandering while you stare at your phone. So the takeaway isn't steps don't matter. They do. The takeaway is that you've been handed the wrong scoreboard. The goal was never supposed to be a magic round number invented to sell a pedometer in 1965. The goal is simple. Move a bit more than you did yesterday, and when you move, they'll put a little pep in it. That's it. That's the whole secret, the marketing buried. Not 10,000, not perfection, just consistent, brisk, real life movement. And so the next time your watch buzzes and tells you that you fell short, remember where that number came from. A clock company, a catchy name, and a symbol that just happened to look like a walking person. You're not behind, you never were. If this made you rethink one thing you thought you knew about your health, there's a good chance the rest of this channel will too. We spend our time here separating the real science from the stuff that just sounds healthy. You're welcome to stick around for the next one. Take the brisk walk, see how you feel.